My Ender 3 has been sitting on a very small IKEA bookshelf for the past 2 years. It's pretty wobbly and isn't the most stable location for my printer. I also just purchased a new resin printer, which I'm pretty excited to use on future projects for this channel. With nowhere to put my new Elegoo Mars 2 Pro and a less than optimal place for my Ender 3, I started looking into what other people in the community have for 3D printer setups. I came across something called the Slack Lack on Thingiverse. It's made up of at least 2 IKEA lack side tables put together with 3D printed parts, as well as slots for plexiglass to create an enclosure for your FDM printer. I usually print with PLA and don't really need the enclosure right now, so what I'm going to do is 3D print the parts that I need to put together 3 lack side tables with enough room for my Ender 3 in the top section. On the top of the table, I plan on putting my Mars 2 Pro. If anything's unclear in this video, which I'll try to avoid, you can find in-depth tutorials on this linked in the description. If you're interested in doing this with plexiglass, just follow the guides linked on Thingiverse and in the description. I plan on adding plexiglass at some point in the future in a part 2 video, so make sure to subscribe and check that out when I make it. In addition to the files available on Thingiverse, I modeled 2 other parts, one to secure the middle table to the bottom table, and the other to fit a switch that will turn on the light strip above my Ender 3. For some reason, some of the wood screws that I bought that were listed in the tutorials on Thingiverse did not work for me, so here's a list of the fastener sizes that I used for the parts holding the 3 tables together. With all those parts printed, it's time to put the Slack Lack setup together. Simply screw the top pieces into the tabletop, then screw the legs into the top pieces. Be sure to push down when screwing the legs in to assure it isn't secured at an angle to avoid any wobble. Once the legs are screwed into the pieces, we can screw the bottom pieces to the bottom of the legs. Make sure that the bottom piece with the channel designed in for the wires to pass through is secured to the bottom left corner of the table for wiring. This isn't necessary right now, however, when you use plexiglass or if you use plexiglass in the future, all the electronics need to be outside of the enclosure to avoid them heating up. So this wiring is to connect the printer to the electronics. Then it's time to screw the catches into the table. Since the legs are 2 inches thick and these catches are going to be in the center of the legs, I measured 1 inch in from each edge to scratch in where I'm going to screw in the catches. Once they're all installed, you can put the second table on top of the one with the catches to make sure it's all lined up well. Next, we can screw the pieces that I designed into the corners of the bottom tabletop. Once those are secured, you can stack the top 2 tables onto the bottom one, and then the table itself is finished. The next step is to install the light strip. I wanted to add in a switch that's always plugged in to easily turn the light strip on and off. I designed a housing for a spare switch that I had, which you can buy on Amazon, linked in the description. I'll need to solder the switch directly to the light strip, which is also linked in the description. If you're in the market for a soldering station, I recently got this Kato soldering station on Amazon and have a coupon available for my viewers. The coupon is on the screen right now and in the description, as well as a link to the Amazon page. So far, the few times that I used this, it heated up much quicker than the one that I usually use. Please note that this portion of the video is sped up 1.75 times the speed, so it won't really be heating up as fast as you're seeing right now. But it also has a pretty cool OLED display. I'm going to use this soldering station to solder up the wires of the light strip to the switch. Once that's all soldered and working, I'm going to wrap the solder joints in electrical tape since I don't have any heat shrink right now. Then I'm going to stick the light strip under the top table and then screw in the 3D printed switch bracket to finish up my 3D printer shelf for now. With this new printer setup, I now have a fixed bright light source for my Ender 3 time lapses, a decently sized shelf for filament, resin, isopropyl alcohol, and other 3D printing materials, a spot on top for my Elegoo Mars 2 Pro, as well as a spot underneath for extra tools and storage. Since I live in an apartment, this IKEA hack shelf allows me to consolidate all of my 3D printing resources in one area and make my office much less of a mess than it usually is. Thank you for watching, and again, I'm eventually going to put in plexiglass to make this an enclosure, so be sure to subscribe to see part 2. Not planning on doing this anytime soon, but definitely will at some point. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram to see some of my projects in progress before I upload YouTube videos, check out my page linked in the description. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord server where I'll post announcements on potential future live streams while designing, future YouTube videos, as well as eventually hosting design and print challenges to get people to learn and practice 3D design and 3D printing, then check out the link in the description. Thank you again for watching, and have a great rest of your day.